Hi, Kim here. Today's video will be about me making myself a free router table. Nothing fancy, just a jig that I make once in a while. It is because someone noticed that in the corner shelf video I made, the one I failed, someone noticed that I was using some kind of jig to do a dovetail with. I'll show you how you can make your own router table for nothing. Let's get on with it. Okay, of course, to make one of these you need to have a router, and this is what I got. There is one thing about this router that actually helps me quite a bit when I do stuff like this, and this is this thing. You see, it has measurements down here, and when I'm trying to set the height of my router bed, I actually use this because I can read here what the height is, and if I need to go a millimeter up or a millimeter down in the metric system, I can just fix it right there. Okay, you need a router. A router with holes in the sole, not the sole, but you know, this faceplate here. That is kind of a must to do this. I'm pretty sure you can do something other than that, but I have 3 holes in mine and I'm gonna use those. I'm also going to use this. This is a box with different bolts. I use this 8mm bolt for securing the fence if I make a fence, and these 6mm fits just nicely down here, so I'm going to use these 6mm. Now on this particular router, you might have to put a little notch into your washers, but I'll show you how I go about making one of these. Oh, and you need a handrail too. Well, I've already made this video twice now. The first time I did it was a video in Danish and in English, and I found out when I got in that it was hopeless to make a decent video out of that. So I went out and made a Danish video, and now we are making an English video. Now, English-ish. Anyway, if you're going to use a router bit like this, you know, with a ball bearing on top, you need to know the diameter of the ball bearing, and you need a drill that is bigger than the ball bearing. You can't push a ball bearing through this plywood here, so you need a drill. So basically all there is to it is drill a hole, this drill bit is simply not sharp anymore. There we are. Now we have a hole that the bearing can go through. The rest of this cutter the rest, now we have a hole that this bearing can go through. The rest of this cutter isn't a problem because it can cut its own way, and then you'll have a zero clearance insert. So I'm just gonna put this thing in. I'm just going to test if it reads far enough. It does not. What's that all about? Oh, maybe if I remove that thing it would help. Yes, it's good. So now I'm just going to place it right here on top of the hole, just so the bearing sticks true. And then I'm gonna take a ball pen. The reason I use one of these is because I can take it apart. It's easier to mark these holes down here. You can of course use a pencil or whatever you want to do. So now I have my marks here, here and here. I'm going to use these. These are 6 millimeters, so I'll use a 6 millimeter drill bit. Now, I don't have a countersink. I did once, I don't know what I did to that thing. So I'm just going to use a bigger drill bit. Whoops. There we are. There we are. Some washers. Some wing nuts. Now here is why you need why I need the notches. They can't go past that thing otherwise. So there we are. Oops, need a washer. There we go. Now we are ready to turn this thing around. counterweight just for well, it doesn't matter. Then we're just going to tighten up these things until they are countersink. Right there. Right there. Right there. There we go. Perfect. Flip it around again. So this looks a lot like a router table, doesn't it? Well, I'm just gonna adjust the height here for a second. There we are. It's pretty good there. Oh, I forgot one thing. Funny, I did that in the Danish video too. To be able to run this, you need this one to be activated. I'm just using some zip ties. Like that. And there we are. And you can still see it? Yeah, sure. There we are. Now, oops. Now I have efficiently removed the switch function. So the only way that you can have power on this thing now is by plugging and or unplugging. I do somewhere have an easy fix. Hold on, I'll just find it. Sorry about that. But here is the fix. Now I can just turn on here. I can just turn on here. There we are. This is one of those times where it isn't a good idea to have the tool on the wire. Here we go. There, everything's good. Now, I know that my router is going that way around. I like to mark it so that I can see it. Okay, here we are. So there we go. Perfect. Now, if you want a fence on this thing, I'm just going to lower this there. I just use one of these. It's I don't know, 1x2. I think it's a 1x2 or something like that. Anyway, what I do is I make a notch in it like that can go over the hole. Make sure to make this notch all the way through, because when this thing makes shavings, it needs somewhere to go. If you don't have this notch all the way through, it can't get the shavings away, and if it can't get the shavings away, it runs hot and you'll eventually destroy it. Eventually you'll damage your router bit. Now this thing is an 8mm. And I just take my 8mm bolt, push it through, and through there, a washer and another wing nut. And now you can see this thing can go over here, like that. Now I'm just going to change the router bit. Let's say that I want this dovetail to be 10mm. I'm just going to set it at 10mm. You need 2mm down. I set the marker that I showed you guys before. There we go, 10mm. Plug it tightly. And there we go. I can turn this thing around to however depth I want it let's say around 5 millimeters in depth. It will be approximately there. You may have to sneak up on it, but it will be okay. This will be pretty darn close. Okay, and we're ready to go again. Can you still see what I'm doing? Oh yes. Here we go. It's funny how these things don't work if you don't plug them in. Now, when I do stuff like this, I have the way that it goes. If I put it in from this side, I risk that the router bit will catch it and rip it out of my hand and throw it away. So when I do this, I want to come from over here and push it in. And normally I won't have a camera in my way, so I'll actually be able to do this a little bit better than I'm standing right here. So bear with me on that one. But let's go. Let's try. And there you go. It's as simple as that. There is no more to it. This right here is what I consider a router table. It can do pretty much the same as any of those router tables you go out and pay a fortune for. By the way, notice how the shavings come out here. Of course you can put a dust collection on it, you could put it in a nice table and stuff like that, but basically this is how I do it. I'm not that fussy about it. I'm just, you know, every time I have a project I just make a new one. Okay, that's it. Well, that's it. I hope you could use this video for something. Remember, I would appreciate it if you leave a comment, a like, or subscribe to my channel if you don't already, and share it with your friends. That's okay too. I can't remember anything that I must tell you guys. Just enjoy your free router. If you can use it, go ahead. Now, take care. See you in the next one. Bye.